Hey guys, Carl here from GameReviewHQ.net, and today we're going to look at the closed beta online game that is Rodinia War. Rodinia War is a Korean fantasy theme with a mix of city building strategy game like Clash of Kings or Tribal Wars and classical MMORPG like Echo of Soul or Arc Lord 2. It is still on its second closed beta and being developed and published by Onsoft. It is actually hard to find information about them since they only have one game developed, and that is Fiesta Online, apart from Rodinia War. Let us just get into the game, shall we? Rodinia War is probably the first game to have a mixed concept, and the first time I saw it, my question was, does it do anything good, since focusing on two things can really be hard in games? So let us focus on the city building before the MMORPG part of Rodinia War. I actually like playing city building strategy for my pastime, so I really like the concept of having your own empire, and this does not actually disappoint. Though I just wish there were more active players that will attack you, since I am pretty sure there is only one guy active near me, and that is my freaking neighbor. And the rest are pretty dead accounts, so I do not really like that part, especially since we are still in closed beta. However, this may be the cause of the lack of shields when you got attacked. You can be bombarded by the same person over and over again, and it is kind of frustrating. You cannot build your troops to save your life. This plagues several games that have the same gameplay as Rodinia War. It also lacks features to make it more fun. There is no alliance yet, so everyone is your enemy. But the good thing, they have not yet implemented a store that uses real currency. That would really be bad for a CBT though. So what do you do in a city building strategy game? Well, first, you obviously gather resources on the resource map. And these are wood, food, iron, and stone. All of them are dependent on time. It is automatically gathered every hour, and you can upgrade those buildings to gather more resources every hour. That is probably the first priority here, and it doesn't actually take a lot of time to upgrade buildings. It usually takes under 30 minutes on lower levels. So you will probably get low in resources real fast than waiting for the buildings to finish, and that is actually a very good thing. Several games suffer from long building queues, but this game does not. Plus, you have two builders, so it's a lot easier to upgrade. Moving on with the territory map, this is where you can build infrastructure in your city, like a warehouse, barracks, arena, stable, etc. There are several spaces available to build almost every building available, though I kind of hate that you cannot build everything in one city. That just kind of sucks. Though it's probably because some buildings, you can actually build two of them rather than one. There are also special buildings on the territory map. One is the Lord's Hall, and this is where you can expand territory by storing resources. The other special building is the Knight Mansion. This is where you can buy knights to use them in the MMORPG part of the game, or you can let them defend your city. Also, you can buy two of them with gold. And more, you can gather gold by grinding on the MMORPG part of the game. You can also buy some slots for the Knight Mansion, though that's a lot of grind and it costs thousands, 10,000s maybe. There are 4 maps in the game, basically north, east, south, and west map. Within those maps, there are area maps. Your first city is put into one of those smaller area maps with other players, and each map is actually big in my opinion. Regarding the area map, it's full of players and rebel territories you can raid and attack. You can also send troops for defending a city, but a lack of alliance feature, it just doesn't make sense to do it. That is basically the gameplay of the city building strategy part of Rodinia War. The graphics on the resource and territory map is actually pretty decent for the type of gameplay. There are moving birds, clouds, and even people, which makes it alive. The area map is also nice for depicting how huge your town hall is. Overall, it has a pretty neat graphics and not really boring to look at. Sadly, there is no music in this part of the game, which is I suppose there should be, and the lack of ambience just make the game very dull. I hope when they get out of closed beta, it should have a music already and more sounds, especially in the city. Now let us move on to the other part of Rodinia War, the 3D MMORPG part of it. It's just like any other mediocre MMORPG out there. However, you are not the one creating the character. Like I said, you will hire him on the Knight Mansion. Then you can use him in Night mode, wherein you will be playing as him. Currently, there are 5 classes available, though it's actually sheer luck to get what you want, as you can only refresh every 24 hours in the Knight Mansion, so it takes a while to get what you want. The gameplay is pretty basic. It is a point-and-click MMORPG, though you can use the keyboard to move. The controls are just very clumsy to say the least. You have to manually spin your character since they don't want to do that automatically when attacking enemies. It is just annoying most of the time, and sometimes, if not most of the time, may result in you dying. And since armors and weapons have durability in this game, it may get destroyed in the process. Another thing is, your character doesn't walk to the quest automatically. Instead, you have to go near it before doing an action to it. The same logic goes to looting. You have to be close to loot the enemy. The system prompts you to do that, and it is bothersome to do that every time. It's a chore. The pathfinding is also bad since you have to micromanage your knight to go to a place, and sometimes even if you click on the right place, the knight goes to a different area since the system thinks you click on that area. Just little things that can frustrate you. The quest is just like any other MMORPG right now. There are like go here, then talk to this guy, then kill this and that, gather this and that. Pretty normal and common quests that you can get. I forgot to say that the quests are half MMORPG and half city building, but both rewards are for resources to be used in your kingdom. I think there's no reward for your knights. Speaking of rewards, they seem so little to be honest, like 135 resources each. Average. That is really small, though all quests are easy enough to do, so you can easily gather 1000 resources each after finishing some quests. Anyway, all of your knights share the same quest, so you can easily go back and forth if you have several knights available. There is no stats customization in Rodinia War, which I quite hope to have since I believe it's an essential feature for an MMORPG. Though you can unlock skills by leveling up, there are just too few skills right now, and you can easily unlock all of them. You will just not feel the fulfilling part of grinding the enemy because of that. Loot drops are so random though, they should actually be fixed. For example, I have an archer. All drops should be related to the class I have, but here it's so random that you may get more items for another class you may or may never have in the first place. Good thing the inventory is really spacey. Monster design look pretty common in my opinion, like zombie, rats, dogs, and more, though there are some unique ones later on in the game. I just hope there are less rehashes of monsters, but currently from what I've seen, some of the monsters look good enough. NPC and the knight designs are looking very common, since like I said, knights are randomized, so you cannot customize them. The world map looks generic too, except the castle one. It actually looks beautiful, but the rest are not so much. It's not bad but not good either, at least it's big enough to free roam the areas. I do not know if it's just me, but there is no background music here in the game unless you are in the first town. Though there are certainly game sounds like when you're fighting, walking, jumping, there's sounds and everything. There's just no background music, which degrades the immersion when playing the game. So yeah, this is my first look of Rodinia War. A very cool concept, but there are several fixes and tweaks that should be done. Before we end this video, let's do a quick recap of pros and cons. Let's start with the city building part of the game. The pros of those are the gameplay is already solid, though there are a few hiccups and lack of features. The graphics look really nice on your city and it feels alive actually. It has a very large map to conquer and the building quicks are quick. You can hire knights, which is basically a hero to defend your city. You can also conquer other lands. And finally, quests give you resources for your kingdom. The cons, however, are there is no music in the background, lack of active players, and there is no alliance yet. So yeah, that's just pretty few. Moving on with the MMORPG part, the pros are there are 5 classes of knights with unique abilities and strength. The gameplay is easy to learn and the inventory is actually really huge. The quests are shared with all available knights, so you can go back and forth, pick the other knight, then continue the quest. Some monsters actually look decent and original. The cons, however, are everything looks so generic, minimal background music and almost nothing background music. No customization of stats and physical appearance to your knight, so that's basically very generic. Few skills to be unlocked, hence the lack of fulfillment on grinding. The controls are clumsy and very frustrating. The loot drops are so freaking random, like it should be fixed soon. So yeah, those are the pros and cons of the game. It is still in closed beta. The city building strategy part is already good and decent but needs a few tweaks and more features. But the MMORPG part needs to be ironed out and needs to have more originality to stand out. Am I going to recommend it? Well, no. It's still in closed beta and probably everything will be wiped out after it. But if you insist, you can waste your time to this game, but do not expect anything extravagant. This game needs a lot of fixing and tweaking to give the fun factor to players. So yeah, this is Carl signing off.